Hey folks, it's Tom and FrugalPrepper. I'm down here working at my reloading bench. I want to go through some of the stuff I do to reduce my lead exposure now. I was diagnosed with lead poisoning, and so we're working on that. The thing here is that I still love to shoot. I love to reload ammunition. I love to do all kinds of things, but I'm constantly exposed to lead at the range, from the clouds that come out, from the dust that settles, from the powder that's on the floor, from the dirty guns, to cleaning the guns, to cleaning the brass, to handling the brass, reloading the ammunition. So I've never paid any attention to any of that. You know, I was a person that went and shot for 4 hours, came out and smoked a cigarette and ate a sandwich, right? And that just exposed me to lead. I am no longer a smoker. I haven't smoked since the day of my stroke. Smoking is one of those things that's stupid. You have a tendency to smoke and see other people suffer problems, heart attacks, strokes, and all kinds of problems, and you think, oh, that's just going to happen to them. It's not going to happen to me. It will happen to you, and you will realize that smoking was the dumbest thing you've ever done in your entire life. Nothing like having a stroke that'll help you get through the nicotine cravings. I have some ways that I reduce that lead exposure. So the lead exposure caused uncontrolled high blood pressure, uncontrollable. I mean, I have a filing cabinet full of like 60 different medications that they have tried over the years, and they never really worked, or they would work short term and then quit working. Now, I started the carnivore diet. I keto and carnivore. I had lost over 200 pounds. I still have lost over 200 pounds, and my blood pressure started to come down. I got in the 150s to 170. All right, and I'm like, something else gonna kill me before 150 or 170 blood pressure kills me, because I'm used to running in 290, 300s for my systolic. So I just didn't take my blood pressure for a long time, for months, and when I had my stroke, it was 260, 270 over something. So yeah, it happened. Today I'm on 5 blood pressure medications, but it is starting to get more controlled. I still have blood pressure readings as high as like 190s, but most of the time they're down around 160s. And I take an extra pill when they're above 160 to get them below 160. So yesterday I had a really good reading, 134 over something. That's like perfectly normal. So they're getting better. I think some of that has to do with me not exposing myself to the lead anymore. And probably that lead is starting to reduce. Typically, lead will reduce by like 50% every 2 or 3 months. So you just have to kind of let that happen. If it's high enough, you'll have to start a ketolation therapy. I'm waiting to see the hematologist to see if I'm going to do ketolation therapy or not. So here's what I do. I'm also an auto mechanic, or was. So I always was exposed to lead that way, and I also solder and do electronic repair a lot, and I always use a lead-based solder, so I'm exposed to lead that way. So those 3 things are the most common types of lead exposure: shooting ranges and reloading and guns, auto mechanics, and soldering, electronic repair. Those are your 3 most common causes of extreme lead exposure, and I did all 3 of them. Okay, so this is my reloading bench, and I constantly keep this wiped down now. I wipe it down, I wipe out the inside of the drawers, I wipe it down every time I sit here. I'm constantly keeping it wiped down. I have a HEPA filter over here. I turn this up on high anytime I'm actually reloading, and leave it on low when I'm not reloading. It sucks the air this way and blows it out the back. So any particulates that get here should get sucked that way with that on high. And I constantly wipe this down. And I normally wipe my bench and stuff down with these Lead Be Gone wipes from Hops number 9. And I occasionally will use this. This is a D wipe. It's also a lead remover wipe. But usually this is what I wipe objects off with. And this I use for emergency, type of hand cleaning and stuff on my body. But you can use those interchangeably. I just think these probably, from what's on the can, right, from what I've read, I think these work better for skin removal. And these are just something to be used for, after I clean a gun and get all the stuff off of it, I'll wipe it down with one of these to make sure that I get any lead off of it, hopefully. Then I also have this D-Lead hands and body soap stuff. This is just something that I wash my hands with. So I wear rubber gloves anytime I'm at this bench working. And then I take my gloves off, right, and throw those away. And then I head over to the sink where I have a bottle of this D-Lead, and I wash my hands with it. And I scrub my arms and everything down really good, right? And then I wash with regular soap. Regular soap doesn't necessarily remove lead so great. You need something that removes the heavy metals for that. When I clean off the pad and everything from my workbench to clean my guns, and I also wear a face mask while I clean my guns. This is a KN95 mask from Harbor Freight. It's pretty cheap, but I'll just stick that on like so, just in case any of those splashes, come out of that from the brushes or whatever and get back towards me. That will help protect me. I do this when I'm reloading ammunition. Okay, so I have moved my tumbler that used to sit over there out to the garage, and I polish all my brass in the garage in the tumbler, and then I take the tumbler outside when I do the spinning thing that separates the tumbling media and makes little clouds of dust. And I do that so the dust goes downwind from me, so that I'm not inhaling that. I used to do that down here. There'd be a big cloud of dust and I'd just be down here breathing it for hours, right? I didn't even have an air filter. So there's lead exposure there. And as I buy brass now, instead of buying the uncleaned brass, I'm paying a little more and getting the tumbled and polished brass. And that way it's already cleaned, or cleaned some. Now this still has some, minute amounts of lead on it. You still have to knock the primer out of it. There's lead under those primers. So I wear gloves. Now, as you can see, earlier I was reloading about 50 rounds of 38 Special, and that is the lead that got on the gloves that would normally be on my skin. And that wouldn't wash my hands, and I would smoke, and I would eat, and I would drink. I would drink at this bench. I no longer drink or have any type of food or anything down by this bench. So you don't want that getting on your skin and absorbed into your pores and your bloodstream. You don't want it getting on your skin and then eat or smoke or drink and then end up drinking the lead. And you definitely don't want it getting in the air and then breathing it in. So I don't do that. And then I clean everything up with these D-lead wipes. And I wipe everything down when I'm done doing a reloading session. I'll just wipe the press, the scale, the desk, everything down. What I also do is after a few days of doing stuff, I wash this pad by itself in the washer with some D-lead, just to clean that off. And I don't clean my guns on this. I just clean my guns on the desk itself. I remove this pad when I'm cleaning a gun, and I'm real careful when I clean. I put a towel down. I use a baby diaper cloth. It's a cloth baby diaper. I put that down, and then I scrub everything in there so it splashes on that. and then I put those towels back in my cleaning box, which I don't ever get into or touch unless I have gloves on. And then when they get dirty, instead of washing those, I just throw those in the trash now. Because I don't really want lead in my washing machine and contaminating other clothes and stuff like that. So I want to really reduce the possibility of that. And I just try to be really careful. When I go to the range, I wear these gloves. I have a long sleeve over shirt that I can put on and zip up. It's loose and baggy, but it covers everything really nice. I'm working on getting another pair of shoes that I can wear when I go to the range. So I'll switch my shoes, take off that shirt, wash my hands with some D-Lead, and then I'll change my shoes before I get back in my car, put the old shoes in a bag that'll stay like in the trunk, right, you know, away from the other stuff. I don't drive yet, so it'll stay in my bag until I get back. I'll probably store it out in the garage and just use that when I shoot. I'll wash that shirt once in a while, separate from other clothing, right? And then I will just be real cognizant that I'm in a very lead contaminated area, the gloves, wash my hands with D-Lead, and then I'll of course take a shower when I first get back home as well, just to help wash off any of those microscopic traces of the lead. But just trying to do what I can do. Now, I can get a big giant respirator that's rated for lead particulates and all that stuff. They're expensive, they're bulky, they're uncomfortable. I'm not willing to go that far. I'll just wear the face mask if I'm concerned about the smoke in the air quality. And whenever I go out and do my tumbler, I'll wear that face mask as well. Just to make sure that I'm not breathing it in. But that's what I'm doing so far. These face masks come from Harbor Freight. They're $1.50 for two. They are disposable. You know, you can wear this a couple of times probably, but you're gonna want to, you know, change these out pretty regularly. But 75 cents for a mask is worth not having to deal with lead poisoning. But I try to save these for when I'm going to do something for lead. So I don't just go out and clean one pile of brass. I go out and I clean a whole bunch of brass. And I use that same mask. And then when I'm done with it that day, I'll throw it away. So that's what I'm doing. But I think it's important to be aware of this if you shoot a lot. If you're a trainer, if you're a concealed carrier who's doing training and you're going to be in an indoor range for hours, you really need to think about lead exposure. You need to not clean your guns on the kitchen table and expose your whole family to lead. You need to be very cognizant that there's lead in those. They do make lead-free primers, right? And I would love to buy some, but right now you're lucky to be able to get leaded primers. You know, so as the primer shortage ends and they make more lead-free primers, I probably will buy some lead-free primers. But for right now, I am still using leaded primers. So I just have to be cognizant of that. Just anything I can do to remove little bits of lead exposure that I have, I'm doing, so that my lead will eventually get down lower. And I can still enjoy the hobby of shooting a lot, which I find fun. No longer melting or casting my own bullets, just not worth it. Not worth the lead fumes, not worth the lead. It's not worth the exposure. I buy bullets, I buy only copper plated or copper jacketed bullets. They have to be completely encapsulated in copper for me to get them. I'm not using any of the lead. I still have some left that are like soft points and stuff like that. I'm going to use them up very carefully. But going forward, moving forward, I'm only buying full copper plated jacketed bullets. And you know, like my 38, I carry a wad cutter that's copper plated. My 380, I just carry a full metal jacket bullet. And I do have some hollow points for it, but I've just found that, especially in the wintertime, it's probably not going to be moving fast enough to expand anyway. So, you know, there's those considerations as to what you're going to carry and expose yourself to and practice with and use. That's lead. You want to avoid lead at all costs. Now, if you're just a person who shoots once in a blue moon and you buy your bullets and you go shoot some at the range, you're probably not going to be exposed to enough lead to matter. When you train for hours in indoor ranges and you constantly shoot and you constantly reload and you constantly polish brass, and it's a whole different story. So you need to really be careful with lead. Just be very careful with lead. Lead is a really terrible poison. It gets absorbed by your bones, and then it can come out of your bones when you lose bone density or you do a lot of exercise. Like suddenly you start jogging, you can actually get the lead come out of your bones and give you more bloodborne toxicity. It's a nightmare to get it removed. And like I said, it causes, like, one of the primary things is uncontrollable hypertension, which I had a severe case of. So that's all I got, folks. I'll talk to y'all later. It's Tom, your Frugal Prepper.